Hello people of YouTube, my name is Brad. This is my channel, Animal Orange, and welcome to 3D Metal Model News. To start with, I've got a little behind on some things. Again, I've had some problems with my email, info@animalorange.com, and just tonight realized, or tonight is, and I'm recording this, the time that I'm recording this, I'm just realizing that not only did I have some problems accessing my email, but even though I thought I had gained access back not too long ago, not all of my emails were coming through. Apparently the internet service provider, well, not internet service provider, but the domain host where I have registered my domain for, because I actually own animalorange.com. In case you didn't know, you can go, instead of going to YouTube, you can just go to animalorange.com and it'll take you to my channel. There's nothing there except a link to Animal Orange, or to the YouTube channel, and I've always thought about doing more with it but never have. But I always got a free email with that, and I've been using it for years, no problems, and they apparently decided to change the program or service. It's basically going to Outlook Express, which is going to Microsoft Outlook. A lot of things seem to be going that way. All of a sudden I've gone from not even needing a Microsoft Authenticator to need it for 3 or 4 different things. But anyway, they're migrating, and I'm getting it free for the next month or so, and then I'm going to have to start paying for it. So I'm weighing my options there, whether or not I'm going to. Maybe I like having that email address. People are starting to learn about it and use it, so I kind of hate to lose it. But I just recently realized I'd missed quite a few emails and tried to respond to them, so I apologize. I know some of them were like a month old, or apparently they were a month old, and I hadn't responded. But one of the things that I missed was a couple of newsletters from Metal Earth. I've just been so busy I did not realize that I had lost that much time. So first of all, we're going to catch up with the 2 newsletters that I missed, because one of them I want to say I heard a blip about and forgot. But the July newsletter was titled, or at least had the title of Battle of the Ironclads. And if you're not familiar with the Ironclads, I'll show you a picture here. There were 2 Civil War ships with basically iron fitted to the above water sides of the ships to protect them from cannon blasts. And this is something that occurred during the Civil War. I know a little bit about this because I was very fascinated by this in high school and did a report on it. I thought it was just really fascinating that this is where metal iron ships came from. So before this, they were all wooden ships, and both the North and Confederate side of the Civil War here in the United States came up with the idea of putting metal on a ship to give it more protection. And they went about it in very different ways. The South completely built theirs from scratch. Like, they designed it, they built it, they made this really low to almost but not quite submarine type ship that sits really low to the surface and has a turret on top that they could actually turn. It only had 2 cannons, 2 guns, but they could rotate those guns around. Now I think they had to do it manually, so it wasn't high tech, wasn't automated, but it was a small ship and it just barely stayed above water. But they managed to get it all. I can't remember where they built it from. I want to say somewhere around North or South Carolina, but they managed to get it all the way up to Virginia. I believe it was a bay, Chesapeake Bay maybe in Virginia, that they fought, while the North took a ship that had been burned down to sea level, around to water line, and repaired the top portion of it and rebuilt it into a iron covered ship. So they basically took an old ship that had been fire damaged, rebuilt the top of it with a iron top, and just placed cannons around it, similarly to what they were doing with ships at the time. And the 2 ships went at it. The Monitor, which was the smaller ship, the one from the south that had the turrets, went into the bay to try and do something. I can't remember, capture something, destroy something, I don't know. And then they met this other ship which was built to protect it. And I don't remember if maybe one person heard about the other, or the one side heard about the other building and tried to catch up. I don't remember. But it just turned into this battle of them firing at each other, and the Monitor was very fast and could just run circles around the Merrimack and shoot at it from any angle, and it had both guns ready to go all the time, while the the Merrimack was bigger and had more guns, but they were all already around it, and it could only shoot certain ones at a time. So I would say that the Merrimack was a little outclassed by the Monitor, but the thing is they both had thick enough shielding on them that neither one of them were really making much of a dent, and they basically got tired of fighting and were getting hungry and running out of fuel and just kind of stopped. Because neither one could get through the other's armor. It was just like hours of just shooting at each other pointlessly. And, you know, no ear bleeds from the noise of being in these ships that are being smacked with big metal balls on the iron sides. It's kind of a comical story, but also fascinating that they came up with this technology and that it worked. The Monitor unfortunately sunk in a storm on the way back and was not too many years ago found off the coast of North Carolina, which is where I'm originally from. But yeah, I know too much about that. I'm really excited to see these models come. It is an embarrassing point in American history, and unfortunately not many shortages on that. But fascinating technology, fascinating ships, was something that fascinated me. And I want to say that I even took a picture of plastic models of the Monitor and Merrimack and suggested to Metal Earth. So I don't know if maybe Metal Earth was listening or if they already had that idea. But those are a couple of models that, according to the July newsletter, are coming up. I really went all out on that. And then in the August newsletter, which just recently came out, just very recently, because I did see blips about this online, the August newsletter has the LLV mail truck, which is the typical mail truck you see, at least in the cities. That white kind of boxy truck that's been around since the 80s. And LLV, if you don't know, stands for Long Life Vehicle. These trucks were basically built off of other vehicle parts and built with the idea that they could be upgraded and maintained and go for a extended period of time. And they have done a fairly good job of that. They've had their flaws and things that didn't work out as well, and I think Postal Service is looking into possibly replacing them. But some of those mail trucks have been around since the early 80s, and they're still out there delivering mail. So obviously they need to be maintained, parts need to be replaced, but they were designed in such a way that that could be done. Anyway, I think it's also fascinating and really cool that we're getting postal vehicles, the LLV vehicles. I know some people that have collected some of the little die-cast metal cars in the post office. I've thought about it. You know what? I'm definitely going to wait for Metal Earth to release that instead, because that's really cool, and I kind of hope they come out with some more post office stuff. Maybe a couple of things. I'm not exactly sure what. A little mailbox might be neat. Maybe some old stamp machines. Just a thought there. I used to have an old stamp machine, but I gave it away a few years ago. Anyway, a couple of newsletter models coming soon, but nothing new on the Metal Earth page. Jumping over to Peace Cool, I did notice two new things on the Peace Cool site. I'll go over them kind of briefly. The Shang Tang Jingheng drum cart, or I believe the English translation is Phoenix Dance Vehicle. It is P172-GR. It is 8.5 sheets, 468 parts, brass, finish size of 19.5 by 15.5 by 16.5 centimeters, 5 out of 7 stars. It is a very colorful, I'm guessing, ceremonial celebration type cart that they use in their traditions. Has a release date of 8/30, so should be officially released in the next day or two, but it will probably take another week or so, if not more, to show up on AliExpress and different stores. Although I did see the models on Peace Cool that I talked about 2 weeks ago showing up, like the Leaning Tower and the little dancing lions are showing up on AliExpress. Now, the other Peace Cool model that I have seen is the St. Basil's Cathedral. So much like they did with the Leaning Tower of Pisa, they have released a St. Basil's Cathedral, more colorful, probably bigger. I did not do a size comparison, but I will give you the details on the one that they have on their website. Model number P181-GR, 711 pieces, brass, finish size of 12.2 by 9.8 by 16.3 centimeters, 5 of 7 star difficulty. And I might have noted this, I saw the words "gorgeous upgrade" mentioned in one of the pictures. If you go to the link in the description down below to see it for yourself, you'll see that one of the pictures just says it has the new model, and I guess an older version, a smaller version, probably a Peace Cool version. Maybe not, I'm not exactly sure. But it says "gorgeous upgrade." Fun choice of words there. This one had a release date of 8/23, so technically already released, but it'll probably still take a few days to show up online. I did not see it, but it seems like Peace Cool's got this thing where they're taking existing models and just basically giving them a larger upgrade. They did that with several of the Star Wars models a while back. They've started doing it with architecture, which is kind of cool. I mean, it's not a terrible thing, and especially if it's added more detail and color and more to it. If it's like an Iconics was an upgrade of the regular Metal Earth models. If they've taken that to another level and upgraded the Iconics, sure, cool, whatever. If it's your thing. I mean, I'd love to build them all. I've got quite a few behind me, but haven't had much time here lately. But those are coming soon from Peace Cool. Looking around on different things on AliExpress, I did find 2 other models, and one of them was kind of mentioned to me, I believe by Garth. It is the MMZ Iron Star, and I do not know how to say this. It's ZHURONG Mars Rover vehicle. So I'm guessing it's maybe a Chinese Mars Rover, a prototype. I don't really know. Kind of goes with some of the other space stuff, but that they've released, but it's not showing up in the same place that the other space models showed up from Iron Star. Anyway, finished size of 17.5 by 15.8 by 9.2 centimeters, 6 sheets, 281 pieces, 7 out of 10 stars on that one. And then we have on the Steel Golem store an interesting find. Now, I do not talk much about the Steel Golem store because quite frankly, I had a negative experience with them some time back, and I don't know, there's just been other fishy things that make me wonder. And there's stuff on their site that I haven't talked about because it just hasn't been that interesting, and I don't like, I'm nervous about encouraging people from buying from their store that they'll have a negative experience like me, and they'll think it's, you know, I get the blame. I'll feel bad. Anyway, so with that kind of caveat, be wary, because I ordered something and didn't get what I expected. They do have a VW82 Kubelwagen, which minor amount of this caught my attention because it's similar to another German bike tank thing that I built some time back, and that's why it caught my attention, because it's similarly named and kind of a similar-ish color, camouflage, wartime concept. But with a minor amount of research, apparently it literally translates to bucket seat car, and it was kind of slang for a doorless cross-country and field car fitted with bucket seats. To prevent, basically the bucket seats were in there to kind of prevent riders from falling out of the vehicle, because I guess it just didn't really have much up top and much in the way of doors. It's an interesting looking vehicle. I'm going to put links to all this in the description down below if you want to follow the link to the actual model and do some research on that Kubelwagen yourself. Go ahead. I thought it was kind of fascinating. I might do some more research after I'm done and have some more spare time, but yeah, it's a neat model, and honestly I looked to see if I could find it anywhere else and didn't, although I didn't search specifically. I don't know if maybe Steel Golem Store has improved in their accuracy of shipping out orders, but maybe it was just a one-time thing with me. But yeah, so be a little careful. The other thing is, it doesn't have any information, like no sizing, no difficulty level, no number of sheets, just nothing. And that makes me even more nervous, because previously the thing that I ordered was already assembled and nowhere did it say that, and I complained, and then it started saying, hey, you got to specify which one you want. So be wary. It's neat. I might keep a lookout for at least for more information before I order it. But yeah, check that out. One other thing, Karanicus. I've mentioned Karanicus before. There's been several comments that they have made, and I've talked about their comments on my channel. I think they've even mentioned putting up a spreadsheet that they've built of where to find different metal models. And they've tried to link it in the comments of different news videos unsuccessfully. I've seen them try, but YouTube seems to just wipe it out, like, right away. Sometimes, it used to be all the time, I would get to review these things and decide whether or not I wanted to keep them when they had links in it. This is just going away. I can't see it. So they did finally send me an email. Well, not finally, they sent me an email a while back. However, with me having my email problems and not getting on my email, I just got it tonight, Saturday night. So I'll put a link to that down below. It's a neat spreadsheet of just all kinds of different 3D metal models and like a checklist of different stores that they may be on and whether or not they're on those stores. So really cool reference sheet if you want to check it out for yourself. It's read only. You can't really add to it. I think Angus is working on maybe getting it to where people could add information, but not right now. But yeah, pretty neat. Check it out. Links in the description and down below as always. And kind of going back to last week's video, I had mentioned how I was seriously considering going back to school. I had an opportunity to go for free and get some education that I didn't have, maybe earn an associate's degree, which was a good start. Some other things have come up and that's completely changed. I'm not going to be going back to school, at least right now, because, well, quite frankly, I've been saving for several years now. I've been working on my credit score since at least 2013, and I guess you could say I was inspired to finally take a step forward a few weeks ago and go and see what kind of home loan I could get. I've been saving to eventually buy my own house. And I got approved for, not only was I surprised that I got approved, but I got approved for more than I expected. And, you know, of course they hooked me up with a real estate agent who started sending me houses, and curious me went and looked at a few of them. I learned years ago when shopping for one of my current vehicles that a good thing for me to do is to start shopping before I'm ready, especially with a bigger purchase, because then I can go through, find out, kind of figure out what I am and am not looking for. I did that with car shopping. I had some money coming my way and I was going to buy a new used car, and I started shopping before the money got here, because that way they couldn't force me into buying something. They just couldn't do it, and my credit wasn't very good. But I was able to look at different cars and test drive different cars and basically hear all the ways they were going to pitch me about this, that, and the other, and learn about my options, and in the end learn what I'm looking for. And what happens, I ended up going to look for, when I did have the money, going to look for the car I thought I wanted and being directed towards another car, and they basically listened to all of my requests and were like, you know, honestly, this car would be a better fit for you. And I've been driving that car ever since, because they easily convinced me it was the one, and it did check all the boxes of everything I was looking for except for a hatchback. I wanted a hatchback because the hatchbacks tend to have fold down seats and I can carry long things. Well, this thing had a fold down seat with a trunk. You can still carry long things, actually probably longer than a hatchback. Anyway, point of this is I started looking at houses just to kind of get my feet wet and see what this experience is all about, what kind of things am I going to see, learn what I'm liking, what I'm not liking, what I could and could not find. And lo and behold, I found a house that I really liked way sooner than I thought. I figured it'd be next year before I got serious. I've already made an offer. The offer has been accepted, and I'm in the process of both packing, preliminary packing, and finalizing all the details. So going back to school is not a good idea right now. I'm trying to get a rather large house full of, well, it's not a large house, I have a lot of stuff. Trying to get it all packed and ready and get everything taken care of, and between that and working full time and everything else I'm already doing, I didn't think it was a good idea to dive into school too. There's just no way this is going to work. I'm putting it off, at least for now, to get settled into this new house, but this is also going to mean more impact on this channel. I'm already barely building as it is, unfortunately, and I've had several requests come in recently that I would like to honor, but honestly right now there's no way. There's no way I'm going to be able to sit down and build new models, because every bit of spare time that I have and energy is going to go to try and pack all this up and get it moved, because, well, I can't afford to take too long. I can't afford to pay mortgage while paying rent on a house. Mortgage on one house, rent on another at the same time, and I'm limited in how much help I can get. So yeah, a lot of my focus right now is going to be on making this happen, because this is also a fantastic opportunity, something that almost fell into my lap. There's a very nice size house with a lot of extra room and most everything I want, and beyond a starter house. So yeah, gonna try and keep the news videos going, but I don't know for how long. They may get more improv, because eventually cameras and extra equipment and lighting and computers are going to get packed because I need to get as much done as I can, rather sooner than later. But yeah, complete turnaround from what I was expecting last week, or 2 weeks ago, last video, to what we have now. So good news, I'm going to be owning a place of my own if all goes through, and have a studio in my own place that I can customize however I want, provided I have the finances, rather than cramming in the corner of a rented place that I can only do so much. So we'll see how this goes. I will always try to stay in touch. But yeah, for those of you that have made requests recently, I don't know when I'm going to get to them because building is not a priority right now. Getting my house packed and moved is. But I will try to maintain what news I can. And as always, thank you for watching. Thank you for understanding. Thank you to my Patreon supporters for continuing to support this channel. And I'm going to leave it at that. As always, keep on keeping on.